Episode 4. The First Night in the Castle.
Vlad's abrupt appearance in the torture chamber made all of us shudder.
Our time. Romania. The castle.
I immediately felt awkward because of the pose he found us in. "Leo, let me go now." He finally put me down, shielding me from Vlad with his back immediately.
Laya, please, let's leave. I must keep you safe.
"I'll stay here and finish with the paintings. I'm not running away from my obligations. Move." Leo looked crestfallen, but he moved and let me come forward.
Don't be angry with him, Laya. He's really worried about you.
Leo looked at him with surprise. He clearly didn't expect Vlad to stand up for him.
Oh, that's rich. Look at you, so kind and noble. Do you think everyone will immediately forget you took her here by force?
You made her do it.
She's responsible and honest, and you're exploiting it. Move. We're leaving and Laya is going with us.
She'll stay here.
Leo clenched his fists and took a threatening step to Vlad. Vlad frowned but stayed still.
Playing the Beauty and the Beast, huh?
It's not clear yet who's the beast here.
A moment, and Leo rushed at him. He wanted to apply some special hold. But Vlad seemingly guessed his intentions, dodged, caught his hand, and Leo flew over to the wall, hitting his shoulder on it.
Damn, how?
Your left hand is slower than your right.
We heard a hollow mechanical screech, and then a sliding hiss. I noticed Sandra looking up and lifted my head too. Heavy bars with sharp stakes were lowering down fast, right onto Leo. "Ah! Leo!" At the same second, Vlad jumped on him, pushing him aside. They fell, tumbled across the floor. A moment later, the bars clanged, leaving stake marks on the stone floor. "Oh!"
Oh my God.
For some time, we were all frozen in shock. "Thanks, Vlad." "Vlad, you saved him. If it weren't for you..." I looked at him with gratitude and he said quietly,
It's all over now.
Your relationship with Vlad improved.
They got up, dusting themselves off. Leo turned to Vlad, hesitated for a moment and said,
Thank you.
It's nothing. I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you. Glad. He almost got killed.
Why don't the castle owner tell us who and why they hung the hellish thing over people's heads?
Vlad searched the wall and looked at the ceiling.
It's hard to tell. The mechanism looks to be at least a couple hundred years old. I think the hit triggered it. I'll need to examine this place scrupulously. The castle had many owners. Who knows what these walls hide? I only bought it yesterday.
Yesterday?
Let's just leave. Right now. I don't want any more surprises.
Yes. It's dinner time anyway. You're all invited.
Finally, we left the sinister room, and Vlad took us through the castle halls. The stone walls were radiating cold, and the ceilings were lost in the darkness. Our little gang seemed a bunch of gnomes compared to that dark grandeur.
Why do you live in such a strange place?
The castle was built by my ancestor in the 15th century and had been passed down to the next generations. Then our family moved to Europe, and the castle came to be owned by other people. I was born and raised in Switzerland, and only recently found out my origins. A desire to learn more about my ancestors brought me here, and also to take back what was once ours. So I bought out our house for starters.
The puzzle pieces began to fall into place in my head. And then the paintings, right? Did they belong to your dynasty too?
Yes, my ancestor, the founder of this castle, treasured them, so it's very important for me to restore them.
Yes, but why did you give them to me then? I'm not from your bloodline, or even from this country.
I wanted someone who's worthy of the paintings and who's able to appreciate them to have them.
We walked to a terrace in the courtyard. It was much more cozy here than in the rest of the castle. There was a small garden with flower beds in here.
Ladies and gentlemen, everything's ready in the kitchen. We're about to serve dinner. Please sit wherever you like. However, these two places are for the master and the lady of the house. But there's no lady of the house now.
Suddenly, Vlad turned to me and pointed to the lady's chair.
Laya, sit here. Be the lady of my house while you stay here.
Your relationship with Vlad is good enough for this offer.
Me? What do I have to do?
Just be here. The lady of the house is a rank, an honorary title, if you will. Her main task is to provide the atmosphere.
Well, what do you say, Laya?
All right, I don't mind. It's even interesting.
There you go, Anton. You can be calm now. There is the lady of my house.
Vlad appreciates the fact you accepted the title.
The servants brought the food. It was delicious, and all of us were quite hungry, so we dug in enthusiastically. However, Vlad seemed to stay indifferent to the exquisite meals. He poured water in his heavy crystal glass and took a sip.
I hope you'll stay for the night. It's about to be dark. You shouldn't travel through the mountains at night.
The thought that I'll be staying with my friends in the castle was very comforting. Yes, please stay.
Of course, Laya. We won't leave you here.
He gave Vlad a meaningful glance. The latter answered with a barely visible skeptical smirk and turned to Sandra and Millie.
You can stay for more than tonight. My home is your home.
I'll leave in the morning. Nosferatu, my cat, is alone in the hotel. I can't leave him alone for a long time.
Of course you can't.
I guess I could stay here for longer. My home village is close. It won't be a problem to visit my family.
Wonderful. Well then, why don't you tell me about yourselves?
There was a pause that always happens when no one is eager to start.
It's boring to just tell stuff. Let's play truth or dare. It's always fun.
Millie, that's kind of a childish game.
No, it's not.
My sister pouted and looked at everyone with hope in her eyes. Suddenly, Vlad smiled.
I don't know this game, but I like the name. I appreciate the truth, as well as dares. Why don't we try it?
The others agreed. Millie beamed and started explaining the rules.
The idea is mine, so I start. The one I ask chooses the next one. You can't ask the same person twice. Let's start. All right. Leo, truth or dare?
Truth.
Millie rubbed her palms together, put on a sly expression, blushed, and blurted out,
What kind of girls do you like, Leo?
Sandra choked, trying to contain her laughter. She leaned to me and whispered,
I think she started the whole game for that question.
Leo brushed off a strand of his rebel hair in one swift move.
Well, first, I like girls with fine taste, which means those who like me.
Millie giggled. I couldn't help but smile too.
And I also like girls who are beautiful, feminine, and have something mysterious to them. My turn now. Laya, truth or dare?
I'll choose truth. Leo cast a short glance at Vlad, then turned to me decisively.
Laya, in all that time you were with Vlad without us, did he ever do anything that upset or scared you? Did you feel he was dangerous?
Bewildered, I looked at him, then at Vlad. The castle owner was looking at us with some heavy, and at the same time deeply sad gaze. Vlad knows what the honest answer is, and so do I. But should I tell the truth? Yes, it happened. That was not a moment related to me directly. But I was scared by Vlad's attitude towards a petty thief on the road. I looked at Vlad worriedly, but to my surprise, he was clearly happy with my answer.
Vlad appreciates truth. He respects you more now.
It's true, I lost my temper. Sorry for frightening you.
Leo clenched his teeth, leaned over to Vlad, and hissed,
Don't even think I'll entrust her to you anymore.
Laya, your turn.
I'll ask Vlad.
Truth.
Your relationship with Vlad improved.
I was so sure he'd pick dare over disclosing his secrets that I immediately felt confused. I had so many questions for him, but now I can't think of a single one. Well then, Vlad, have you ever lied to me? You say you like truth, but were you always honest with me? Vlad lowered his eyes for a second. Then he entwined his fingers with so much force I heard a crack.
Can I pick dare?
We heard rude men's screams from the outside of the castle's stone walls. Then a deafening clap of a shot and a pitiful whine of some animal.
Hunters?
It's prohibited to hunt in this forest.
While we were looking at each other in alarm, Vlad had already got up from the table and ran to the gates. The animal screamed. We heard cursing and some commotion and sprang to our feet.
Anton, do you have weapons?
One moment, mister.
Anton disappeared into a utility room and soon returned with a shoulder arm.
We always keep it loaded just in case.
Leo grabbed the gun and went to the gates too. Millie, stay here. And Sandra and I...
Stay here, all of you. Don't even think of interfering.
No way. We're going too. Don't argue.
There are several of them, and they are armed.
Vlad is alone there, and he's not. Let's go. Leo just shrugged in irritation and rushed forward, Sandra and me in tow. We ran through the gates and saw fallow deer on the clearing. 2 scared babies were shifting their feet next to their mother, who was lying on the ground. She was breathing heavily, her mouth agape, and crimson blood was pouring out of her side. Sandra ran to her. "Where's Vlad?" Screams and noise came from the thickets. Leo raised the gun and moved towards them, and I followed him. We looked out cautiously and spotted Vlad. He was pressing some man against a tree, holding him by his lapels. Vlad was telling him something threatening in Romanian, and the man grinned, scared. Suddenly, I saw a rifle in the grass next to them, apparently belonging to the jacklighter. His accomplice was lurking towards it behind Vlad's back.
The path of luck.
I pat Leo on the shoulder. Look, look! The second jacklighter's hand was inches away from the gun when Leo jumped at him, knocking him out with the buttstock.
Laya? Leo? Why did you take her here?
As if she would agree to wait out there.
Sometime later, Millie, dying from curiosity, looked out from the gate.
Ah,
She saw us returning. Leo was ahead, carrying the wounded fallow deer. Behind, Vlad were bringing the jacklighters, guiding them with the barrel of the gun. Sandra and I were trying to shepherd the terrified, disobedient calves. We took the deer to a pound that was once intended for horses. The castle gardener volunteered to take the jacklighters to the precinct. While the men were handling them, Sandra and I took to the deer's wound. Millie didn't come with us as much as she loved animals. She was terrified of wounds and bandages. Poor thing. Sandra, get more antiseptic. There you go, girl. Be patient.
She was lucky the bullet only grazed her, but still, it's a big wound. The pearl fallow deer are the cold forest's pride. They're already endangered, and these bastards...
I rinsed the wound as thoroughly as I could and applied the bandage. The deer closed her eyes wearily and seemingly to fall asleep. The babies laid down next to her, nuzzling against their mother's side. They had those wonderful biggies, so lamenting... I felt unwanted tears streaming down my face and turned around, whipping them with my hand. My heart is breaking when I'm looking at them. Sandra caressed my shoulder sympathetically.
We'll heal her, and then we put them back into the forest, and they'll live like they used to. And those freaks will get what they deserve.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rooms are ready.
Make yourself at home, rest. By the way, there is a library here. The right wing, the first carved door to the left. Feel free to come in and take any book you'd like.
Vlad left, and Anton took to lodging us.
Miss Leia, there are 3 bedrooms for you to choose from. Please follow me. Oh, the choice of a real queen.
Anton brought my suitcase, and I took to settling down in my new room. I was putting my stuff on the shelves and simultaneously trying to categorize my thoughts. The past, the present, the paintings, the castle, Vlad. Vlad didn't want to answer my question about the lie, so he might have lied to me. But when and about what? Soon, all the clothes were in place, but my mind kept racing. I decided to check out the library. Walking down the empty hall felt very uncomfortable. I picked up the pace and tried to remember which door Vlad mentioned earlier. I think it's the left wing, the first carved door to the right. I guess it's here. I already took the handle when I heard voices behind the door. They sounded familiar.
Master Vlad, but that's nothing. All butlers do it.
It's not library. I confused something.
They all lie to their masters? They all steal?
You appointed such a big salary for me. I didn't even think a gentleman so generous would notice these dimes.
The butler babbled desperately and pitifully. Vlad's voice was ringing, raised.
It's not about the sum. How do you not see it?
I heard the sound of falling objects and the butler's short moan. It's time to interfere. I pulled the door, but it wouldn't budge. Then I slammed my fists into it. Open up! Everything fell silent. I heard footsteps approaching the door.
Laya?
Anton slipped behind the door. Instead of his usual smile, he was frowning in fear. Writing tools were scattered across the floor, thrown off the table in some fit. Vlad turned to the butler and said with metal in his voice,
This is the first and last warning. Even the most minuscule sum again and go.
The butler bowed, horrified, and took to running. What happened here?
Just some unpleasant human error. Laya, I need to finish some business. Sorry.
The heavy carved door slammed in front of my face. That time, I came to the right direction. My head spun as I observed countless bookshelves filling the huge chamber. I came into the first row and started looking at the books. There wasn't a soul in the whole library. Soon, the door opened, and someone walked in. I saw Leo and Millie in the gap between books.
Your relationship with Leo is not good enough.
They were talking, and I couldn't help but listen.
Kathy always says she has the best brother ever. There is just one problem that you fuss over her too much. She's already 16.
Yes, I know. It's a problem not only Kathy has with me. You see, our dad left when I was 13. Mom took it hard. She would sit motionless in her armchair all day long, staring at the TV. I had to grow up early and take care of her and little Kathy. I still overdo this care thing sometimes, you know. I think I do good for people, but actually I intrude in their personal borders. It's especially true for those I really care about.
Come out and express sympathy. I walked out from behind the bookshelf and approached them. Sorry, I overheard accidentally. Leo, I didn't know about your family. I'm so sorry. He didn't answer me. He just looked at me with a prolonged warm gaze.
Your relationship with Leo improved.
My sister's face gave away the fact that she wasn't too happy to see me.
I just wanted to take a book. We're leaving already. Leo, will you walk me to my room?
Yes, of course.
By the door, Leo turned around and looked at me with doubt in his eyes. But Millie took him by his arm, and they walked out. I was left alone in the library and took to wander the bookshelves again. The kaleidoscope of thousands of books. I leaned into one of them to figure out what the half-erased name was.
Tristan and Isolde.
I gave a start upon realizing Vlad was standing right behind my shoulder. When did he walk in? I didn't even hear him. Vlad put his hand on the book, and I found myself squeezed in between him and the shelf. I turned around, and our faces got very close. Such a sad story. They didn't end up together after all.
Yes, not in their lifetime, only after death.
Somehow it was hard for me to bear the closeness of his gaze. It seemed to look at my very core, reading my deepest secrets. I wanted to look away, but he kept finding my eyes, never looking away. It was like a hunt. Then I slipped under his arm and stood several feet away. Vlad smiled. He leaned into the books and looked at the shelves.
Do you like the library?
Yes, very much. It's a magical place. I love books so much, and there are thousands of them here.
I love books too. It runs in the family.
Your relationship with Vlad improved.
I feel at home when I'm surrounded by books wherever I am.
Vlad smiled, looking up. Something elusively boyish and careless was in that smile. I almost gasped upon the realization. He looks just like Vlad from the past. They're almost identical. Suddenly, Leo appeared in the passage.
There you are. What are you up to?
Why are you here?
Because I'm keeping an eye on you, Mr. Stealing Beauties.
We're leaving already. Laya, it's time to report your progress with the paintings. Please fetch them and your instruments and follow me.
Seriously? Now? Can't you wait until the morning?
Leo, you said you had to leave early in the morning because of the cat? So go and have some sleep. And, I don't think you should come back.
Leo's neck veins popped out. He gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. I didn't want to witness another fight, so I touched his shoulder. Leo, don't. I've committed, I must do it. Vlad, I'm ready to go. We walked to the exit, and Leo stayed alone between the bookshelves. The spiral stairs took us to an open viewing point.
It's beautiful here at day, but now it's absolutely special.
The point was lit by a lantern, and over the edge there was the panoramic view of the forest and the mountains, basking in the bright moonlight. There was almost no fog, and I could see the rustling leaves and the mysterious little lights. The crickets were chirping, the night birds were singing. The forest looked like a living creature, enigmatic, yet peaceful.
And there is a lake over there.
I turned around and spotted the perfectly smooth surface. So calm, like a mirror.
Please show me the paintings.
I laid Hassan's portrait on the table, and the painting I started working on today next to it. Vlad only looked at them for a short moment. He pushed a chair away from the table and sat down, then pointed me at another chair.
Sit down and work for a bit. I want to see how you're doing it.
Here? Now?
Yes.
So he's going to sit here and watch me work? It's strange and exciting.
Your relationship with Vlad improved.
I sat down, took an instrument, and reached for the painting hesitatingly. Just work. Don't think. Soon I got carried away as usual. The secret of the hidden painting absorbed me completely.
You're very beautiful.
I was startled at the sound of his voice and turned around. In the moonlight, Vlad's face seemed to be made of delicate light. He looked like someone from a mysterious and a magical land.
Take you hair off your face. I'd like to see you better.
His voice remained quiet, but there were new intonations to it, interest and vigor. Okay. His deep velvet voice seemed to seep under my skin, awakening shivers within. With shaky fingers, I pushed back a strand of my hair, touching the delicate skin of my ear. His gaze was following this move, and my reaction, it seemed to captivate me, never letting me go. The touch of my own fingers gave me strange excitement, almost burning me. It felt like he was the one touching me with my hands. I wanted to feel it again, so I touched my neck and slid down with my fingers gently, from the ear to the shoulders. Then again, along the collarbones. His eyes were burning, still watching my every move closely, devouring me. I felt a wave of warmth rising from within, from my neck to my chest, going down to the bottom of my stomach insistently. Vlad was still sitting motionless, with one leg on top of the other, entwining his fingers and tilting his head a bit. Only several feet were separating us, and I felt that space filling with the heat of mutual desire. I bit my lip, trying to contain my gasp. The distance between us tormented me, almost driving me crazy. I was almost physically pulled to him, so I got up without hesitation. But
Laya, continue your work, please.
he said it softly, but it still felt like a slap to me. I sat down perplexedly. I lowered my head so he could not see my face and continued working on the painting in sharp, nervous movements. Several minutes later, I felt the familiar lulling feeling. No, not now. Not when he's watching. But I couldn't resist it, so I slipped away in a moment.
(1444), the Ottoman Empire.
Lael hesitated for a moment and then knocked. The door opened.
Did you bring it? Come on in.
The teacher's study was filled with artist's materials: easels, boxes of coal, brushes. Lael laid out Hassan's portrait on the table. The teacher examined it excitedly.
It's still unfinished. I had so much work to do in these past weeks.
But it's already apparent that it's a very distinguished work, a work of a real artist. You have the gift, Lala Khatun.
She blushed. The teacher approached the shelves and took off a small clay pot.
Lala Khatun, I hope one day the world will see and appreciate your work. But for now,
He took off the cloth from the pot. Inside, there was some slimy ointment.
we must hide the portrait. No one can see it.
What's in the pot?
I went to war back at my homeland. It was a partisan war. We were hiding in bushes. And we had a way of hiding important documents like cards from the opponent. It's a mixture of wax and herbal infusions, and it's difficult and time-consuming to prepare, but if you cover the painting with it, the image will be hidden. And you only need to warm the canvas to make it visible again. Say, put it on an oven.
Lael blinked in surprise.
Take it. Once you're done with the portrait, cover it with a thin layer of this ointment and let it dry. After that, your work will seem an old greasy piece of canvas to everyone not in the know.
Lael couldn't help but jump in excitement.
That's so great. Who invented this miraculous thing?
Suddenly, Dimitris lowered his gaze and turned to the window.
A girl. She knew each plant in the forest. She loved them and talked to them. I think they talked to her back, revealing their secrets. But, unfortunately, she died.
Lael felt uncomfortable for bringing the teacher's bitter memories up.
I'll sympathize with him.
Lael took a wavering step towards Dimitris.
Dimitris Hojam, I'm very sorry about the girl.
The teacher turned around, and their eyes got closer than ever before.
She looked just like you, Lala Khatun.
Your relationship with Dimitris improved.
Lael got flustered, bowed to the teacher, took the pot and the portrait, and stumbled back to the door.
Thank you, Dimitris Hojam.
Lael crept to the door cautiously, about to slip out of the room.
Where are you going? Come here.
Lael sighed exhaustedly and turned to her tutoress. She produced a small box and handed it to her.
Do you know where the chambers of Shehzadeh Mehmed are?
I do.
Here, take it to his chaperone Dia Khatun. Ask the guards, and they'll take you to her.
Mehmed's chaperone? Is she the one you've been visiting every other night?
She is. We used to be friends when we were young. I was nursing you. She was nursing the Shehzadeh until he was exiled to Manisa.
Lail's eyes widened. Someone was speaking of Mehmed's past for the first time since he returned to the court.
How many years haven't you seen each other?
I think about 9. You and Mehmed were 5 years old when...
I've heard that phrase before.
Lyle, do you remember your cousin Mehmed? You were both 5 years old when...
What can a 5-year-old boy be exiled for?
Shahi Khatun pursed her mouth.
Get going. She must be waiting for you already.
A servant went to tell Day Khatun about a visitor, while Lele was waiting in a small but lavishly decorated room. It was the first time she visited that part of the palace, so she was looking around with great interest.
Why did she send me? That's what servants are for. Could something valuable be in the box?
The interior door opened, and Lele opened her mouth to greet the tutoress, but...
You? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same question.
It's my tutoress's room. I always visit her at this time.
Mehmed walked around Lail, examining her with curiosity.
You know, it's even good that you're here. It's high time we talked in private.
He plopped down on a sofa, casting his arms to the sides, then nodded at a seat opposite him.
Sit down.
Lele hesitated for a moment, and obliged. Mehmed leaned in, too close to her face.
I like you. So feisty. And your face? Sweet like locum.
He outstretched his hand towards her chin.
The path of luck.
Lail froze, unsure how to react. Mehmed picked up her chin with his finger and burst out laughing.
Don't be afraid. Tell me this. Why are you so attracted to slaves? You used to hang out with the ginger scarecrow all the time, and now there is that gloomy, scrawny kid.
Lail stayed silent. Everything she wanted to tell him was far from what was permitted by etiquette.
You're a part of the Sultan's family, and I'm the Sultan now. Still can't get used to it. And as the Padishah, I don't approve of your friendship with plebes.
Lail just clenched her teeth to stay silent and not lash out at him.
Anyway, my dear, it's time to let these friendships die and get closer to someone higher in the society. Your royal cousin doesn't mind making you one of his kindred spirits. And even heap favors upon you, if you act like a good girl.
Suddenly, Mehmed grabbed her wrist. Lail felt her arm aching, but she didn't dare jerk it back.
Oh!
Mehmed forced her hand to his face and bit her fingertip lightly, then let her go.
I'll be silent and tactful. I'm talking to the Sultan. He's the Sultan. I must keep silence and go my own way.
She put the box down, bowed, and rushed to the door, followed by his laughter. Lail ran as fast as she could, and finally she saw the stable's roof. She looked around and vanished in a small lean-to that was used for storing hay.
Oh, we thought you'd never come. Is it ready?
Lail nodded, turned away, and produced the scroll from under her skirt.
Dammit, you're about to see it. It's so wonderful. Promise me you'll look at it every night and recall me.
I keep thinking about you all the time, but I promise.
Lail unfolded the scroll, and the couple saw the gray, greasy canvas.
What's this? Where is the portrait?
Lila looked around. She saw a stone table used for preparing vegetables for the animals by the window. The sun made it burning hot. The unfolded canvas started changing slowly when she put it on the table, and soon, Saifi's portrait began emerging on the surface.
What kind of miracle is that? Is it magic?
Not magic, Saifi Khatun. It's a special concoction to hide the image. The heat reveals it. We didn't think right away, but it would be dangerous for Demet to have your portrait on him. Someone could spot it and...
Saifi gasped.
Oh, Lord! It was so stupid to put Demet in this danger. Love made me delusional.
Saifi was ready to break out crying either from fear or from relief.
I don't want to cut in your goodbye. I should go.
Lala Khatun, thank you so much. If I can ever pay you back, I'll be so glad.
Lael ran again, this time through the garden. Suddenly, 2 pairs of hands emerged from the bushes on both sides of the path. They caught her, stopping her in the tracks.
Ah!
Hush. Why are you yelling? We're all friends here.
I'll rejoice. Phew, thank God it's you. I got so scared.
You were the scary one, galloping like a mare.
Who's a mare? Come here.
I just really love mares.
Aslan hid behind his friend's back. Lael chased him, and together they almost tripped Vlad to the ground. Sometime later, the 3 of them were lying in the grass and interrupting each other as they counted the first stars.
Oh, look, this one's falling. So pretty. I wonder where stars fall. Vlad, can you imagine it's your country? Bam. Or yours, Aslan.
I can't even remember my homeland. I can only imagine its snow and the cold mountains.
Maybe that's better. At least memories don't torture you every night. It's a good thing you're here. The world doesn't seem so hopeless with you in it.
You've got your brother, Radu. Such a sweet boy. And so beautiful. I can't take my eyes off him.
Radu? Yeah. He just started to love the Ottoman Empire too much. He's forgetting his own land.
He's just a kid. He's treated well, and everyone keeps telling him how glorious and wise the Ottomans are. Sorry, Lael.
It's okay. I do fear one thing, though. What's going to happen now that Mehmed is the Sultan?
Lael decided not to tell her friends about her earlier encounter with the new sultan, but she kept revisiting it in her head.
Uncle Murad has already left Edirne. Today, the last battalion of his Janissaries is going after him. And tomorrow's the day of the first order of Mehmed. I'm afraid to think, what will it be?
Ah, come on. He'll probably order to transfer the classes to the harem, or we'll start the Byzantium campaign.
Lael giggled but immediately pressed her hand against her mouth. Someone's slow steps were heard from the path.
Get to the bushes!
They hid behind the bushes, trying to make out who was walking there.
Dai, why don't we turn back? This is too much for your poor legs.
No, I can walk this far. Huma's house is already close.
Lael leaned to her friends and whispered,
It's Mehmed's nanny. And Huma was the name of the abandoned house owner. I want to follow them.
I'll go with you.
I'll go with you.
We can't follow them all at once, they'll see us. All right, let's go together. What can I do? It's too hard for me to pick one.
Both friends are glad they can come with you.
They sneaked behind the bushes, trying to catch up to the old women. The old ladies were walking slowly, busy with their conversation, so it wasn't hard to follow them. Finally, the house came into view.
See how devastated it is. But even now the house is still beautiful.
Because it was built with love and for love.
The women sat down and talked in hushed voices. Lael and her friends sneaked to the gate to hear them better.
I feel sorry for Huma. She was such a good girl. But she loved Sultan Murad too much.
Yes. When he lost interest in her, she used to spend all her time here, living in memories and her naive dreams.
But her dream did come true. Her son Mehmed became the Sultan. Who could have thought? The 4th son got the throne at the age of 14.
Oh, she paid too high a price for that. Both her and your sweet Aisha.
My mom?
Why regret about the past now? You should think about the future. You're his tutoress, so tutor him. Make him a wise ruler who doesn't act on a whim, and he must find a good wife.
If only he listened to me. I love my little birdie, but his personality is so challenging.
Suddenly, Lael felt a soft thud on her back.
Oh, Guzelik, it's you. Good girl for not barking. Be quiet, we're hiding.
Such a good girl, Guzelik.
What? Guzelik? Lali has a dog? Vlad, you knew and didn't tell me?
Hush, they might hear us. I'll explain later.
Vlad, Aslan, and Lele waited for a bit and followed them. The chaperone made Lael get up at dawn and shooed her to wash her face without any mercy.
Big day today. The first order of the new Padishah. You have to look your best. Yesterday, the seamstress sent us new dresses, so go ahead, try them on. Ah, my little beauty. Let's go. Don't forget to stand close to Mehmed.
The official part of the day of the First Order dragged on for so long that Lael couldn't take it anymore, just like other people in the chamber. It looked like Mehmed, who was standing in the center puffed with pride, was the only one enjoying it. Finally, it got to the announcement, and Mehmed unfolded the scroll.
So then, the First Order of the new Ottoman Empire Sultan Mehmed II is to cancel the order of Sultan Murad II about teaching the vassal children in the palace school.
No, not this.
Starting from the next week, all foreign boys will be transferred to a separate school, with all conditions to harden their battle spirit and prepare them for hardships of life.
Our time. Romania. The castle viewing point.
Leia, wake up.
I emerged from the mist in my mind and opened my eyes. Vlad was standing next to me with a concerned expression. He saw me pass out and got scared. Vlad, I'm fine, But he didn't hear me. His darkened gaze was aimed at the forest behind the banister. It was still nighttime, but something changed in the whole scenery. The first thing I realized was that it was completely quiet, as if we were underground. No birds, no crickets, no rustling. I came to the banister and followed Vlad's eyes. Oh! Some strange haze fell over the woods, looking like a huge trembling veil. It looked alive. A long, spine-tingling sound rolled in the mountains, echoing through them. It reminded me of hundreds of voices, combined in the single lament. Vlad, what's going on? That's when I looked at the lake. The water at its edges was going up as if pulled by a giant magnet, and there was a deep swirl in its center.
Leia, go to your room.
But I couldn't go. My eyes were fixed on the scene over the banister. No natural occurrence could explain what I was seeing and hearing.
Go to your room.
His scream made me jerk, collect the paintings with shaky hands, and rush down the stairs. Vlad followed me. At last, I saw the hall of the first floor and the doors to our rooms. Mine was 30 feet away, and Leo's room was before it. Vlad came to a halt next to it.
No, wait.
He hid the door open and pushed me towards a scared Leo, who rose from his bed immediately.
Be with her.
Leo and I watched in confusion as Vlad ran out of the castle and disappeared into the night.